Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe Panther III.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to me, Joe Panther III, and this awesome podcast, Dudes at Ringside. Welcome, fans, to the Dudes at Ringside Christmas Spectacular on the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am Joe Panther III, and with this being my very last episode of 2024, I would like to thank all of my guests from Kiara all the way back to the first episode of the year, to my friend from Germany. She's a sweetie pie. Definitely you'll see her again in 2025. Promise. But today I have a young lady, a lady that is with me right now in the Dudes at Ringside Studios, my grandfather memorial, Jose Quinones Memorial Studios. She's hitting the trail. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Bad Nanny. Welcome to Dudes at Ringside. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. No problem. So, who trains you? Who trains you?
So I train at Off the Rope Studio. It's in Kitchener, Ontario. They started a school about 3 years ago, and it's the first female-owned wrestling school in Canada. Oh, so wow. Vanessa Douglas is the owner, and her partner Jeff Black is her husband, and he's also a trainer at the school. And I go to the all-female classes. So I train every Thursday night. I go to wrestling school, and then I train powerlifting 4 days a week, and then I do sprint training 1 day a week as well. So that's my training schedule for wrestling.
Wow. So how long did it take you to find this class? Was it easy to find, or because back in the day, it was just whispers and like, oh, you like wrestling? Oh, there's school on this date in these buildings. Like, it was easy to find the school.
So here's how I started into this whole interesting wrestling world. My husband and I own 3 sports therapy clinics, and we had a guy come in for his initial visit, and I took him into a treatment room, and he's like all muscled up, and I'm like, oh, you must be a power lifter, because that's what I do. And he's like, no, I'm a professional wrestler. I went, oh my God, like, what do you mean you're a professional wrestler? And I had no idea that there was like a huge wrestling community that you could be involved in. And he said, well, I could put you in my show in 6 weeks. And I'm like, I don't know how to wrestle. Like, I'm a power lifter for Team Canada, but I have no idea how to wrestle. So we did a few practices, and he said, all I want you to do is wear Team Canada singlet and like your gold medals from Worlds, walk in, pick up a guy, slam him, and walk out. I'm like, okay, sounds easy enough. So I get to the show, and that's all I had to do. I had one move. That's it. And I get into the ring, and I kind of like half pick him up because I really don't know what I'm doing. And then he kind of didn't jump, and I picked him up, and I just kind of and fall back on the mat with him. I was so embarrassed. I thought I screwed up the only chance I will ever get to be in a wrestling ring, and I frigged it up. So I didn't sleep for like nights afterwards. I was like beating myself up that I, just a shitty job. So I said to my husband, if I ever want to get into a wrestling ring again, I need to find a wrestling school. So I found one in our city in Hamilton, but it was all guys, and the school was fine, and the trainers were fine. But I was the only girl, and I got matched up with a guy. Like, I'm 5'3", and my partner was like,
one in the house.
Oh yeah. So like, this guy was like 6'4" and 300 pounds. And I'm like, okay, I really like this, but I think I need to find a school that has more girls in it. And my husband said to me at the time, he said, if you ever find a wrestling school that has a lot of girls, he said, I will support you 100%, because he's not a wrestling fan. So he didn't really understand the whole logistics of a guy wrestling against a girl, like that type of thing. So I'm like, yeah, no problem, honey. Well, I found a wrestling school to go to, and it's been great. I'm not originally from Ontario. I'm from the east coast of Canada, very small island off the east coast, Prince Edward Island. And when I moved here, my sense of humor kind of doesn't fit in to the Southern Ontario culture. So
Oh boy.
I've got a wacko sense of humor, and I
Why
did
we might get along, because I have a wacko sense of humor too.
excellent. So I was like,
as I said before, Joe Pesci's pops in my head when someone says something stupid. I immediately go, does this person need new kneecaps? Like sideways? Or I just say, New Yorker. I go, shut up. And that's all I need to say.
Yeah, they can't read your inner thoughts. You're fine. Fine.
They can.
Yeah.
They're I'm living the cartoon life.
Also my husband said to me, I don't want you to be a sexy wrestler. Like, I don't know if he was expecting like bra and panty matches or something like that. But I was like, oh, don't worry, honey. I'm not going to be sexy. So as you can see down here, I wear a house coat that says Bad Nanny on the back. I wear one of my powerlifting singlets. But over my singlet, I wear an adult diaper because I'm a senile old lady. And I actually have a cane, and I actually have a spanking stick to beat my opponents with. So I like the comedy part of wrestling. I have a little bit of a theatrical background anyways, and then being a high-end power lifter with being strong, and then having an acting background, and a wacko sense of humor, like indie wrestling kind of like put all of that into a nice little package for me to express myself. And it's been great. Like, I like to make myself laugh. So like I have like these foolish videos that I make on my Better Nanny Instagram site, where I put Viagra and X-Lax in my chocolate peanut butter balls that I was taken to my wrestling party. So like just foolish stuff like that. And,
oh gosh. Don't want to hang out with Big Nanny. Don't want to hang out with Bad Nanny. I'll end up losing my pants. Be running to the
There
bathroom.
There you go. You never know. I do have an extra pair of Depends if you need it. Just saying.
I have to
but so
to go to my aide friends at work, be like, Bad Nanny made me poop my pants. Can you all help me? Help! They'll be like, Joe, you're on your own. You're 41.
Yeah. Well, and for me, I started wrestling at 47 years old. I'm going to be 51 next month, and having 30 years worth of in the gym training, like powerlifting training, squat, bench, and deadlift. It's all about like making your body tight, 1 rep, and that's it. So you're not like loosey goosey and ballistic. And when I see myself wrestle in my brain, I'm like, oh my God, that was a good match. I was flying around that ring. And then I watch the video and I'm like, oh my God, I move like a cinder block, because that's been my powerlifting training for so many years. So like the young girls in my wrestling school are 18 years old and I'm 50, and we're wrestling against each other. There's moves that they can execute that I cannot, and I know my limits. But I'm out there and I'm getting booked for shows, and the audience loves like the funny and the comedy side of it. But I don't want to just be a gimmick. I go to wrestling school because I want to wrestle. And so it's kind of been a good combination to have that combination of doing the comedy side, but also making sure that like my signature move is a suplex. And my husband's still like, I can't believe you can do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, honey, I can do
A
it.
lot of people that
So,
can't do the suplex. Like Nanny, there's a lot of people that can't do a suplex because Kiara, which is one of my first UK guests, actually first international guests I ever had from the UK. I said the word UK twice. Kiara, if you're watching this later on tomorrow, girl, you're single reason why this is called internationally known Dudes at Ringside, not just Dudes at Ringside. Like
there you go.
she got interviewed by a TV lady, and she went to suplex. She's like, Kiara, I was like, can you suplex me? And the girl's like, so look, you could tell that was a stiff suplex. And when she hit the mat, Kiara did this, and I was like, I don't know if she acted it out or like, ooh, you have to take, I got a bump. And then it could have been like, ouch, quinge, yikes.
Yeah.
But with you being like not that long been in the business, did you ever catch yourself as a kid like watching any of the older wrestling and that put a spark into your brain that you could probably do this?
So growing up on the East Coast of Canada, we had 2 channels, CBC and the Snowy channel that really didn't come in very good. So there wasn't a whole lot of options to watch on TV. But we had Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling, and it was indie, it was indie wrestling. Like there was Killer Carl Krupp and the Cuban Assassin, and they'd come out with like a shovel and beat the other guy with it. And we were little kids, were like, this is great. This is amazing. And then you grow up and you like, things change and you get away from the wrestling world. But what brought me back into watching wrestling was I was the director of a mental health clinic for 16 years. And we had a guy there he was a little on the spectrum, a little bit of mental illness thrown in there. And he was obsessed with talking about wrestling. And none of the other staff would give him the time of day because they didn't watch wrestling and they just thought it was like, oh, he's just being annoying. He's talking about wrestling too much. I'm like, you know what? This guy needs someone to talk to about wrestling. So I started watching wrestling again. So I could go to work and say, hey, Scott, did you see the match last night? And then we would talk about the wrestlers and it brought me back into watching wrestling again. So I wrestled in my home province in Prince Edward Island over the summer, and I got 10 tickets sponsored to my old mental health clients, and they all came out to watch me wrestle. So here it was, the last time I was around them was 10 years ago as the director of the mental health clinic. And now I'm a wrestler.
Oh, wow.
So, and I told Scott, I said, Scott, you're the reason why, part of the reason why I'm into this whole wrestling thing again, it was because I needed to connect with this guy. So the best way to do it was to start watching wrestling again so we could talk about something at work. It was great.
That's cool. That's cool that somebody that loves it so much, like me, being a person with an intellectual disability, I could never really find my circle of like wrestling fans. So I would be like with my uncle or aunt, like watching WrestleMania in my uncle's living room. And my aunt is like, yeah, or be at the Garden, my first show ever. I'm talking to my uncle and my aunt about it. And then we're walking on the street and they're like, I'm short, I'm little. So he's like, but now they're like, Randy, oh my God, you actually do this stuff. You sit there talking to people on the internet about wrestling, about the careers and stuff like that. That's the cool thing about it. So let's dig in deeper about that. Nanny is like, you said that she's like a comedy act. Do you ever like where does she come from? Like, do you watch a movie or like, where do you get this character idea? Because I've interviewed Big Daddies, I've interviewed Mother Endless, I've interviewed Little Mean Kathleen on this podcast, Becca, the pop princess, like tons of Canadian wrestlers that have like different crazy, scary monsters from like, oh my God, there's so many different characters. Like, where does she come from within your mind? Like, where does she come from?
Well, when I was back in Prince Edward Island, I did a lot of dinner theater acting, and they always typecast me as a dirty old lady that would like, so I would, I had my roles and my lines and all that stuff for the plays. But a lot of it was actually when you serve the people their meals at the dinner theater, you would ad lib with them. And I was always like this dirty old perverted lady. Like,
oh my God.
And it was it was great. It was fun. So like it was a fun character like years ago to play.
My God.
And then I also realized like I am not a spring chicken. So if I act older than what I am, if I act like a 70-year-old wrestler out there, and I'm like got my cane, I'm like cranky, and I'm like bitching at the kids and like just being an asshole, and then I get into the ring and I take off that house coat, slowly take it off, and then they see underneath my house coat I'm wearing a friggin' Depend over my singlet. Audience loses it. They love it. So I actually started out as a heel, and I do heel moves too. Like I like being a heel. I like doing the dirty stuff because Bad Nanny, she's freaking bad. She's bad. She likes doing the bad stuff. But the audience ends up loving me because they're like, what the hell's going on? This old lady in a diaper's wrestling, and she's like suplexing, and she's doing this and she's doing that. And so they end up really, really liking the character. So sometimes when I am the baby face, I have a hard time trying to not be the heel in the ring at the same time. So that's one thing I struggle with is like the heel stuff comes more natural, I guess.
So would you like, when it comes to like your move set, you said you do a lot of powerlifting stuff. Is there any like, you know, with certain wrestlers, they would use their like the weapons they have with them, like the big boss man would use his nightstick. You said you have a spanker. Do you use that a lot with the face wrestlers? You like grab them and start spanking them or dragging them, like riding them up like a pony around the ring and stuff like that?
I do spank them. But here's my Bad Nanny signature move, and it's pretty wacko. So in that diaper, there is a full container of chocolate pudding. So I've been wrestling the whole show with a loaded diaper, and the audience doesn't know that. The audience doesn't know. So the ref gets distracted. The wrestler gets distracted. I spin the wrestler around, and while the wrestler's distracted, I'm slowly taken off the diaper so the audience sees what's going on. And then I grab the diaper and I pull it off and I show the audience so they all see it, that it is full of chocolate pudding. And then I whip that wrestler around, face wash her with the chocolate pudding. She's blinded. She can't see. She's covered in chocolate pudding. Put her in the suplex. Boom. Pin her. Win the match.
Yes.
Sometimes.
I love that. I love it. I love that.
Alex is like, what the heck is going on? And like they're not expecting like this great big huge shitty diaper to be whipped off this old lady. And it's just for fun. The way I see it, I'm 50 years old. I'm doing this for fun. I love it. I love the audience. I love the theatrics. I love the wrestling part. Like I said, I just don't want to be a character that goes in there. Like I like doing the wrestling moves because that's why I go to wrestling school. But yeah, my kids say they watch my videos and they're like, "Mom, you're insane." And I'm like, yes, I am.
That's amazing. So have any kids or any of the fans like drawn pictures of you or anything?
Oh no, I haven't had that experience yet. But so Bad Nanny is a little bit limiting in that not every promotion wants a dirty old lady wrestling in a diaper in the ring because it's a little bit wacko. And yeah, I understand it is wacko, and that's why I love it. But when I wrestle in Prince Edward Island, they said they don't want the Bad Nanny character. They want me to go in again with my Team Canada singlet on and go in and just have like a traditional wrestling show. So they asked me like, okay, so what's your ring name? And this was like done like that. And I'm like, I always loved Marilyn Monroe. I'm like, so my ring name in PEI is Carolyn Monroe. And I wear my Team Canada singlet and I do a lot of my power moves, sidewalk slams, world's biggest slam, suplexes, half suplexes, fisherman suplexes. So like all those big power moves. I'll pick her up, put her over my shoulders and squat her 10 times. And I get the audience to count my squats. So the audience is counting it. And then like, she's like trying to get off my shoulders. And the audience is counting it and like dump her off. So
yeah,
so it's two different. So I've got like the complete extreme, like the more traditional wrestling with Carolyn Monroe. And then there's Bad Nanny. So I was like, Bad Nanny's so much more fun to work with and to make videos with, but it's good. So whatever the promoters want.
Fun gimmick. It sounds like almost like a Mrs. Doubt. I was thinking, my mind, because I draw and I write, all I could think is you must have watched Mrs. Doubtfire a lot.
Oh God, yes.
Well, one thing is that you're putting putting in the diaper. Does it get on the singlet in the back? like
you know what? Okay, the first time, because when I was wrestling with the diaper, like I would take the diaper off and like choke the other girl with it and all this stuff, or if I was managing as Bad Nanny, the other opponent would be off on the ropes and I would take my diaper off and like choke her on the ropes with the diaper. And then I was like, you know what? I think this diaper needs to step it up a notch. So I put chocolate syrup in the diaper. And then in the match against this guy, Bruce Thunderstein, take off the diaper, go to like wash his face with it. And it sucked. It like the diaper sucked up the chocolate. Like it wasn't going on his face. And I'm like, okay, I need to find something different. So the chocolate pudding, like it just like makes a mess of their face. The last match I was in, I was getting ready to diaper her. She takes my hand, shoves it in my face, and I was covered in chocolate pudding and the audience was screaming. And then I take the diaper and I whip it into the audience at the audience members. And they're like, ah! And they're like screaming and trying to get away from this shitty diaper that's like flinging through the audience.
I just thought of something. You should take like with the chocolate pudding to get people all really freaked out about the poop. You could take the pudding and crush like a Crunch bar in it, or like Crunch bar, like like a Butterfinger. Make it look like crunchy and lumpy. So remember, I draw, and I know a lot of people would be like, Joe, what the hell are you talking about? This is gonna end up I clicked on StreamYard, I swear to God. But to ad lib the poop, you gotta make it look realistic. Yeah. So give it
exactly
that Crunch bar look to it, or what you.
Well, you work in a senior's home, so you know what you're talking about.
I work in the kitchen. I work with all the fun stuff.
Shit! Don't be okay. Kitchen.
I work with the food. I give them their soup or their oatmeal in the morning. Hi, man. Here's your oatmeal. And I watch one of my coworkers is gonna be watching going.
Mix up that oatmeal for you there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give her a little.
I'll have to send you a picture of Bad Nanny. I'm like, is this lumpy enough for you? But yeah,
is it too far to say put a little bit of corn in that?
Yeah. This was fun, Bad Nanny. Have you thought of coming over and wrestling in the States?
I would love to. There was a couple of girls from my school. They wrestle in Buffalo, and I went on the road trip with them to help out with the ring and be there. And I was like, oh yeah, this would be a cool feather in my hat to say that I wrestled in the States. So
you should come to Pennsylvania.
Pretty fun.
I live in PA. I live in Milford, Pennsylvania, and I think I mentioned that when we were chatting on Instagram. There's a promotion I frequently go to called PPW. It's in Slatington, Pennsylvania, and they have a lot of good wrestlers. They have Danny Moe, they have Visage. They don't have a Bad Nanny. They don't have anything like that.
Who would?
And also, I usually go to Battlefield Pro Wrestling That is
Oh, okay.
here we go. This is gonna make you want to go there more and train with them. The son of one of the wild Samoans, Afa and Sika. He's related to them, bloodline pretty much. He's the
Okay.
son of Afa. It was Afa Jr.
Mm.
And you go there to the school and you could work around because you could tell him you're a power lifter, and you could tell him about your character, and he worked with these young wrestlers. But I know if you went there and told him you were a 15-year wrestler, he'd be like, whoa. Because there's wrestlers like they're in the States that usually never get the like. I have where's her band? I have a band on here. I can't find it now. But this is a female wrestler from Pennsylvania, Autumn Breeze, and she's been in the business for a long time. You look her up. She's been in the business for a while. But it definitely I hope to see you come here to the States, because wrestlers like you, your characters are a dime a dozen. Like, not every day do you see a bad Nanny. Like, I've seen Mother Endlesses, I've seen Big Daddies, Adriana's, I've seen Little Mean Kathleen's come through the dudes with the next. This technically is still the 3-year, even though the logo above the background says 4, but still, like, did you ever think that this character, Bad Nanny, would have taken off?
No, well, no, because like when I went to wrestling school, like off the ropes, my trainer was like, you know what, you're gonna have to train for a year and a half to 2 years before you get it yourself, before we can put you in a match. And I'm like, oh my god, that's not enough time. I need more time than that. And then like a month later, she was like, yeah, so we're gonna put you in a tag team match in May. And I started training there in March, and I'm like, what? It's too soon. But I trained for it, and it went over pretty good. Yeah, and the way I see it is like every show, every podcast, anything that I do is bonus. This was all started because I thought I was only going to have one chance to be in the ring, and I screwed it up. So like now everything is, I don't take anything for granted. Like everything is bonus. It's so much fun. It's so good. It's so good. And Bad Nanny is just like really taken off. Yeah. And who knows where it'll go. So yeah, just enjoy it and make new friends and meet lots of people.
Like me in America, that you never thought you'd
Exactly.
be on an American podcast. Am I like, I'm tooting my horn, but am I your first American podcast you were ever on?
Joe.
I am.
Is it inappropriate to say you took my American podcast virginity? No, I shouldn't say that.
I told you we're not censored, so yeah, achievement. Oh, wait, what? Canceled?
Oops.
Oh, geez.
No, this like I was so excited to be on an American podcast. Honestly, like this is surreal for me. Like this is big for me. This is awesome. I really appreciate it that you asked me.
That's why I do this. Yeah. I do this to help everybody. Like, either a wrestler will send me a T-shirt and I'll wear it here in the States. Like, I have like a Big Daddy. I don't know. I have Big Mama that's in NWA. She works in the wrestling.
Oh yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have her T-shirt. I have Vicious Vicky's T-shirt. I bought that one. Big Mama, she sent me a T-shirt. I have wrestling promotions that send me T-shirts. I wear them. I call myself the wrestling indie billboard. Like, sometimes I wear them under my scrubs at work, and I just, when I'm at work, I just throw them off and I'm wearing a wrestling shirt. They're like, how many wrestling shirts do you have? I'm like, 13? Like, but other than that, before we go, if my fans want to, actually, no, we'll go a little longer. I want to go a little longer with this podcast, because I know we don't have anything to do because it is the holidays. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Probably have some wrapping to do, or some Depends to buy on Amazon.
Well, you know what? I have to go to the grocery store to buy Depends, and I'm always worried that I'm going to know someone in the lineup, and they're going to be like, why is Natasha why does she need these like massive bags of Depends? Because like every show when I take it off, I fling it out into the audience and I lose my depend. And well, it's covered in chocolate pudding, so I really don't want it back either. But we did a kids show and I had my diaper and there wasn't any chocolate pudding in it, but we took it off and whipped it out at the kids at an elementary school. They were fighting over the diaper, like tug of war with the diapers. Like, what's wrong with you kids? Well, we know
Kids is not. It's not. There's not $100 in there. They thought there was money in there. Kids, you know the kids these days. They think there's money in
kids
everywhere.
these days.
Because they saw Nanny and they thought they were getting money for Christmas. You know what I mean? They're like, giving them money. That's what. One thing you tell the kids on the microphone. You're now not getting nothing from Nanny for Christmas. You're all getting cold.
And a used pair of Depends.
What's that? I wrote the check wrong. Like 25 cents instead of $50. 50 cents. You put the period in the wrong spot.
Oh yeah,
I
like that.
Cash it out or put it in his account, and his mom's like, "Why'd you get the thing on the? Oh my god, this would be a funny TikTok." You write the check and then you put period 50, and the mother gets the notification. Why did you deposit 50 cents into your bank account? What? And then they show them. Nanny gave you 50 cents for Christmas. That's all you want, kid.
Yep. Inflation. You know.
Well, for you, here we go. For you, after a wrestling show, where's that one spot in Canada that you always have to eat at if you go to eat after a show?
Honestly, after a show, I usually have a whiskey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like the pressure is off, and then you can relax. And the ring is torn down, and we got it in the truck, and it's done. Everything's done, and then you can go, and then I pour whiskey.
Yeah. Do you have any? Do you like? What would you say? Like, I like talking about food. I'm a big foodie, and I'm a local. Your favorite places to eat, because I live in a small county. I like to support my local businesses. Is there any local businesses that you like to eat at in Canada that you like to give a shout out to tonight?
So I really like craft breweries. And craft breweries here are really have good kitchens now, because they're like the in thing is to go to a craft brewery and you get a flight and you get to try all the different beers. And then they realize that we need food here. So now there's really good kitchens. So Sean and Ed Brewing Company in Dundas, I really like them. I really like Collingwood Brewery has a really good kitchen. I like to go to the Thirsty Cactus in Dundas. So it's kind of like your pub food, that type of thing. That's what I like. Pizza and pub food for sure.
Oh yeah. By me, there's a brewery by me that it's on the 3-lane where I live in Pennsylvania. And I haven't been there yet, but they have a wing day that the machine broke and they had to send a sorry letter on. They had to pull a Canada. Sorry, Joe Alphabet. They had to pull a Canada and put a statement on their Instagram saying they're sorry for their wings. The machine broke. The fryer broke. People were complaining. Apparently, people must have been carrying the brains out of that place.
So here's something that actually shocked me backstage at a wrestling show. When I go to a powerlifting meet, everybody brings a cooler full of food, and it's all like good, protein, snacks, like all really good, healthy food, and a lot of it, because once you weigh in, then you can eat as much as you want, and it's always usually healthy food with the powerlifters. At a wrestling show, I'd show up with my little cooler of food because that's what I'm used to. So I could eat some fruit, apples, some carrots, have a chicken breast with me, something. But the wrestlers don't eat. I was shocked. I'm nobody. I'm sitting there eating, and I'm well, there's nobody's eating in here. And the wrestling shows that I've been to, none of the wrestlers eat backstage. And I'm like,
Yeah, I hear that a lot. You know, it's
and I'm not sure. Maybe they don't want to barf if they have like a, like a hard bump and it all comes out. Like, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was just different for me that like I show up with food and like nobody else is eating. But what I do actually do for every show I go to is I make like they're called like energy bites or like protein balls, and share it with all the wrestlers backstage. So at least like, at least get something into you. It's the mom and me. Eat, would you eat, for God's sakes? You're going to be out wrestling soon. Eat.
Yeah, no, I don't get that because I get a lot of that too. Like normally I ask the question, do you bring food with you or do you eat after? And a lot of them are like, I pack a thing of rice and chicken. That's like not fried.
Oh yeah,
they
okay.
rotisserie chicken with rice and eat it after the match or after the show. Cause, they're out there about out of the venue about like 1-2 o'clock in the morning to break down, and they have to like get out, and then they're in their car eating their dinner like blah, blah, like, and everybody's gone. Like that's rough.
Yeah. I felt bad for the wrestlers that were in my hometown in Prince Edward Island last August, because this town is so small that nothing is open past 9 o'clock at night. Everything closes. And the nearest Tim Hortons was about 25 minutes down the road. And that is the only thing that is open 24 hours at my whole end of the island. But all of these wrestlers were driving, like some of them were driving, had like a 5 or 6 hour drive to get back home. And they were leaving the wrestling, and they'd find someplace else to stop along the way, but there was like nothing that they could eat in my hometown of Tignish, PEI.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find it crazy that like some wrestlers don't eat. I'm a pure foodie. My parents, I'm half Puerto Rican, and my mom always like says, eat something before you go. Like even if I'm going to the show and I know I'm going to be eating at like Slatington has a food court there with like drinks, they have food, they have a bar, and they have all pizza, Greek food, all kinds of stuff at this bar, at this like food court. And I could be eating pizza, but like I'll eat something like a little like plate of rice. Cause like I'll get there and I'll be like, oh, so Joe's gonna eat like a freaking hog. And you're gonna eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
But
true.
Like, yeah. So if my fans want to pick up any of Big Mama, a big Bad Nanny's merch, where can they find it?
Message me on Instagram. And my Instagram is Badder Nanny on Instagram. BADDERNANNY, because Bad Nanny was already taken. So I had to go a step further and be a badder.
Did you see who it was?
No, I didn't see who it was. No.
I would be me. I'd be immediately looking it up. Like, who is this person?
Thought to do that. Yeah. It's some probably actually, when I came up with the name Bad Nanny, I wasn't even a grandmother. But I am now.
Aw. So you're wearing your merch. What is like? You have the T-shirt with you. Like, let's see what
I do have. I'm wearing my T-shirt, and here's what my T-shirts look like. And it is me. And this artist was amazing. So there's me. There's me with my singlet on, my diaper. I've got my house coat, a spanking spoon, and then I'm on top of a wrestler. And here's my tagline. I mean, it's backwards. It says the first spank is free.
I love it.
So I get you addicted because the first spank is free, and then you got to pay for it. Just saying. Oh, and here's the back.
Pro wrestling.
So it says pro wrestling on the back. Because like a lot of my friends and family members aren't wrestling fans, but they are now. They're Bad Nanny fans. But like, so now when they wear my T-shirts, it says pro wrestling on the back. So if somebody else sees them, they're like, oh, this Bad Nanny is a professional wrestler. That's cool. And then it opens up the doors for conversation, and they tell people all about their, you know, their crazy sister who's like a wrestler. And my journey started out in PEI. I actually ran for mayor of my town twice.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades. The first time I lost by 2 votes, and the second time I lost by 4 votes. Ugh. So that was kind of crappy.
You gotta make, if you ever do it again, Nanny, you gotta like be like presidential nanny with like a tie. And
Oh
my gosh, you gotta draw like the like a Canadian flag on the back of your on the back of your you know, make it like presidential depends. Like,
oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like presidential, and then if they you could have like a joke phrase like, I didn't just give you my depends, you had the my like whatever state you were running for. Like you could be like, I'm Bad Nanny and I support this message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Suit jacket, and you pull the suit jacket off and you have your depends on. You're like, couldn't hold it. Sorry.
It's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. I could come to the States.
Oh my God. You come to the States, Nanny, you got to come to Pennsylvania. I have to meet you. Remember, you said the first spankings first. I guess the first thing I asked you, and you're like, Joe, you're taking too long. Ow, 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 ow. Give me a minute. Interview off. I think Papa Panther would be like, he deserved that. Be like, that's not nice, Dad. Ow. Those red glasses make no sense. This is amazing. So before, has anybody ever made you on a WWE game before?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
There's a guy that I know. He's from Canada, and he makes wrestlers in a video game. The BWC. Yeah. He makes like his own division with women and men. And I think BCW. He does the WWE 2K24 game and 25. Okay. And I got to tell him about you. So he knows about you. And you never know. You could be made into a WWE game.
Awesome.
So.
I mean, like, because it is a different character. It is a different character. Like, who else in their right mind is going to go in a wrestling ring wear a pair of depends, acting like an old cranky, like, wacko lady, grandmother?
That's why when I put the thing on the poster, I was like, oh, I told my dad before I did. It's like, oh, I'm going to be going live with a wrestler. He said, oh, who are you with today? I was like, Bad Nanny, and he was like, what? My mom's like, well, Nanny, you know, it could be like their grandma. And I'm like, it's not like a babysitter, the nanny. And I was like, no, like Nanny, like grandma. Like,
yeah. And where I'm from in the East Coast, your grandmother is called a nanny. Like that's your nan. That's your grandma.
Yeah, that's what I told them.
Yeah. So, but I do hear that some people are confused that I'm like a babysitter, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not babysitting anybody.
Have you had any like?
Are they getting some spanks if I have to?
Do you ever have fans make signs about you, like Nanny spanked me again, or something like that?
I had I have got some fans. One fan showed up, and it was beware, Nanny's always in a pissy mood. And then somebody else had a big sign. My son had a big sign that said pin and then ER, pinner, and just like different foolish signs like that. But like the one that beware, Nanny's always in a pissy mood was a pretty good one. I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, oh God, that's hardcore. Okay.
You ever autograph the signs when you see them and stuff like that?
Yeah. And it's fun. My t-shirts are actually, I've only started producing them about a year ago, and I only made them to send out to my family as Christmas presents. And then it just went like exploded. Now everybody wanted Bad Nanny t-shirts. So I've had like 3 or 4 different orders that I had to fill, like like bulk orders because I run out and I have to go back and get more bulk orders for t-shirts and then send them out again. So it's pretty cool when you show up at a show and you look around and like you're seeing like, fans wearing your shirts. It's kind of nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, Nanny, Bad Nanny, with this being the end of the season for me and like the Christmas, before we get to New Year's, what's one of your New Year's resolutions for this year?
There's a couple of I want to clean up some of my moves in the wrestling school a little bit better. I'm a competitive person, so when I see the young girls that are doing like really cool moves, I'm like, God, for Frank's sakes, I should be able to do that. So I just need to clean some of that stuff up a little bit better so I can incorporate them into my shows and then wow the audience at the old ladies doing these cool moves. So that's what I want.
Awesome. Have you finished your Christmas shopping yet?
I did, and then we got invited to a party. It's one of those Texas swap parties where you bring a wrapped gift and then it gets exchanged and then somebody else opens up and then somebody else steals it, like that type of game. Have you ever heard tell of that before?
Yeah, I have done that before.
Yeah, I'm not sure what everybody calls it something different. So now I have to go out and buy 2 gifts. So one of my gifts is actually going to be one of my Bad Nanny t-shirts wrapped up.
I'm jealous. I'd be like, not gonna get that. It's just mine. I love, as you said, I love wrestling t-shirts. So I'd be like, no. Or the people will be doing this, Joe. I know you want this. What? Oh, but I wanted the pop. How do you know it's a pop? The box shape. Stupid. Little box. But I guess my New Year's resolution is to never give up. But when you don't hear back from the person the first time, it's not happening. Don't give up, but if you don't hear back from them, it does not mean yes. It means obviously they don't want to do it. But there's people that have led me on, the past few years.
Oh, that's too bad.
They said and then they just left me in the red. Because
when you were like, do you want to do this tonight? I'm like, yes. I said I had to check with my husband in case we were invited to a party or something first. And then he's like, no, I have to be home tonight. I'm like, check. Excellent.
Is he watching? Hi, honey. Hi. I said, hi, honey.
He's downstairs watching probably sports right now.
Yay, sports. I'm a sports fan.
Sports. Yeah.
I like watching hockey, even though my hockey team doesn't include a penguin or a flying thing. It's an islander.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Grew up in the Long Island, the island, the LI. Yeah.
Very
and we
cool.
also have one of my biggest fans in the chat, my friend Vinny. Hey, Vinny. He's a good guy.
Oh, look at this guy.
That's Mr. Vinny. He's a good guy.
Hey, Vinny.
He's one of my biggest fans. He's been a fan of Dudes at Ringside for ever. He's stuck along with me, and he's joined me on this journey of solo act, and now 3 years next year. Hopefully, he stays along for the 4-year anniversary of Dudes at Ringside. But he is and always will be my number one fan, the big guy.
Very good.
Yes,
very good.
He says I'm the number one fan. Yeah. Yes, you are Vinny, and you are the number one fan. Always will.
Yeah. Be. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's good to have support like that.
Super sweet. Super. He sees me and it's they say you don't think you're a celebrity, but they say you're a celebrity to somebody else. Yep. That's Vinny. I'm a celebrity. Vinny's my big celeb. I'm the celeb to him. But before we go, I want to wish you and your family and everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I want to wish you the best of luck on the remainder of the year of your wrestling journey.
No, thanks, Joe.
No problem. And to the fans out there that watched me the entire season this year, thank you so much. It means a lot to you. It means the world to me that you have joined me on this journey. Now for 3 years on this podcast, and now here on the Joe Panther Variety Show on YouTube. Don't forget to like this video, share this video with all your friends. Big Nanny, Bad Nanny, don't forget to share this with all your friends and tell them to watch this episode and give it a like. And it will be on Spotify if I can get it off StreamYard fast enough right afterwards on the Joe Panther
Hey!
Variety Show. On the Joe Panther Variety Show on Spotify. I'm Joe Panther III.
I'm Bad Nanny.
And I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Joe Panther III, and this is Big Nanny, and we will catch you in 2025 in the next one.
Merry Christmas!
You filthy animals.